welcome back to yoga. My name is Ashley and today we're doing Monsoon yoga. If you are familiar with or live in any territory where there are summer monsoons or monsoons during any time of the year, then you may or may not know that sometimes people's joints, maybe your joints, get really stiff, sore, maybe even swollen. And this is a condition in Chinese medicine known as damp B syndrome. And damp B syndrome is characterized by soreness, stiffness in the joints, sometimes again swelling. Sometimes it's aggravated on rainy days or cloudy days. And any movement, to be honest, is really good for damp B as long as it's not strenuous exercise. So you want your movements to be slower, smoother, and gentler. Oftentimes, if people have damp B, they'll be recommended to do exercise such as yoga stretches. They'll be recommended to do some walking, maybe some Tai Chi or Qigong to help move the energy. Whenever we have any kind of B syndrome, it's called an obstruction. That's what the word B means. It's an obstruction syndrome, which means that something is stuck or congesting the vessels in the body. So the idea is we want to move that so that we can get out of pain or improve our level of pain. People who have damp B or any B syndrome may not be able to move as well as someone who does not have the syndrome. So if you do find that you have arthritis or things are acting up because it's raining or it's cloudy outside, please feel free to modify your postures and use props such as blankets, blocks, bolsters as much as you need and in any pose that you might think you need it in. For today's class, we're going to need a blanket and a block or any substitutes for those that you would like. We will be targeting most of the joints in the body, so this is a full body class. Always feel free to opt out of postures if you need to, skip what you need, again, modify what you need. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Feel free to close your eyes or gaze at a point out in front of you, place your hands on your thighs, and just take a moment here to check in with yourself. Get connected with yourself in some way, whether that's focusing on maybe noises in your environment, maybe sensations you're feeling. We're going a little deeper and noticing how you're feeling emotionally, mentally, and spiritually as well. If there is any pain or discomfort in your body today, just take a mental note. This yoga practice isn't about fighting to get into positions. It's more about feeling yourself as you are, doing what you need to do to help yourself feel better in the moment. It allows us to pay more attention to ourselves so we can take better care of ourselves. It's a form of practicing self-care, self-love. Take a full breath in. And exhale, let it out with a long sigh. Breathe naturally. Gently open your eyes. Let's go ahead and begin here seated. We're going to do a couple of neck stretches, some shoulder rolls, and then get into our poses. Feel free to switch the cross of your legs. And then whenever you're ready, take your right hand to the left side of your head. Press your head and hand into each other. Keep that tension there slightly as you let your head gently lean over to your right. Keep your left shoulder moving back gently as you stretch your neck. It's not a forceful push or pull, just enough to get the stretch on the left side of your neck. Then gently lift your head back up. You're just going to slide your right hand to the back corner on the right side of your head, and then bring your head gently, slightly to the right again, and then down so your chin comes more toward your chest. Now you'll be most likely feeling this on the back left side of your neck. Gently lift your head back up. Switch your hands so your left hand is on the other side of your head. Push head and hand into each other, and then gently lean your head to the left. Move your right shoulder back. Keep your chin slightly lifted. Breathe naturally. Then gently lift your head back up. Slide that hand to the back right corner of your head, and then lean your head again slightly to the left, and then down, chin toward your chest. Keep moving your right shoulder back. Next inhale, slowly lift your head back up. Take your hands, interlace your fingers behind the back of your head. Make sure it's on your skull and not your neck. Pull your elbows in toward your face and then draw your armpits back. Same as the others. You want to push head and hands into each other gently, but let your head lean forward, chin toward your chest. And lift your head back up. Keep your hands interlaced behind your head. Widen your elbows as much out to the sides, even back behind you as possible. Lift your chin, lift your chest, and curl back. Try to push through your chin to stretch more on the front side of your neck. And then come back to the center. Take your hands onto your thighs. Roll your shoulders back a few times. And then forward a few times. Great. Lie on your back for wind removing pose. From here, take your legs straight out on your mat. Bring your legs together to start. Point your toes and kneecaps straight up. Then hook your thumbs. Extend your arms beyond your head. Keep your palms facing up. Then extend up through your fingertips. Create as much length between your arms, your legs, your hips, and your shoulders as possible. Move your rib cage toward the floor and your tailbone toward the ceiling. Then on your next exhale, pull your right knee towards your chest. You can either grab your pants, your thigh, or your shin. Push your hand into your leg into your hands, and then widen your right knee to the right. Take your right knee high up to your right armpit. Keep pressing length through your left leg, and then draw your right knee in toward the midline of your body. Keep pressing hands into leg into hands so you have a slight pressure in your hip joint. You can totally stay still here or do a few circles in one direction with your hip and then circles in the other direction. Then take your right toes under the back of your left knee. Take left hand to your outer right thigh and your right arm to the right. Then roll over to your outer left hip so your right thigh is parallel to the floor or towards parallel, not necessarily knee to the floor. Some people, if you try to take knee to the floor, it's too much on the SI joint where your sacrum and your ilium meet. Keep pressing your left hand and thigh into each other, and then gently rotate your outer right hip away from your right shoulder. Gently untwist. Come back to center, hips to center. Extend arms overhead, hook your thumbs, legs straight. Get your length. And then on your next exhale, draw your left knee toward you. Grab your thigh, your shin, your pants. Push hands into leg, leg into hands. Keep your right leg long. Widen left knee to the left. Pull your knee toward your left armpit. And then pull your knee back in toward the midline of your body. Pushing hands into leg, leg into hands. Breathe here several breaths. Do or don't do circles, a few in one direction. Then the other direction. And then step your left foot under your right knee, left arm to the left, right hand to outer left thigh, and roll to your outer right hip. Rotate outer left hip away from your shoulder, tack your left shoulder back. Keep the length in your spine, lift your chin. And slowly come back up. Hips to center, straighten your leg. Then bend both of your knees, place your feet flat on the floor and your feet together to start. And then pull your right knee towards you. From behind your thigh, grab your thigh, interlacing fingers all the way to the webbing. Push your thigh into your hands, hands pulling back into your thigh. Stay here or pump your right leg a few times, bending and straightening. Next time your leg straightens, keep your leg as straight as you can. It may mean your leg's still bent. Stay working here or extend your left leg along your mat. Point your left toes and kneecap up. Flare all 10 toes. Try to create as much space between your toes as possible. You can totally hang out here or roll your right ankle in one direction. Then go to the other direction. Bend your right knee, place your right foot flat on the floor. Then pull your left knee toward your chest. Interlace fingers, non-dominant clasp. Push hands into thigh, thigh into hands. Then pump left leg a few times. Go slow. Next time your leg straightens, keep it as straight as it'll go. Stay here, extend your right leg straight along your mat. Point toes and kneecap up. Flare all 10 toes. Stay like this or roll your left ankle a few times in one direction. Go slow. Then switch directions. And then bend your knee. Lower your foot. Bend both knees. Scoot your hips one side and roll to the other side. Then sit up. Come on to hands and knees, all fours for cat and cow. Place your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. And begin at the base of your spine, rounding your spine all the way up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Bring chin toward your chest, tailbone through your legs. And on your inhale, reverse the movement, starting from the base of your spine, moving up vertebrae by vertebrae, lifting your chin, lifting your chest, broaden your collarbones, broaden across your sitting bones. And just keep moving back and forth with your breath at your own pace. These slow, mindful movements can also have a way of showing us where we might be tight, where we might be having pain or discomfort, because we're moving so slowly in the transition that we'll find those sweet spots per se. You're always welcome to pause and hold in any position that feels like it needs a little more time, a little more love. Maybe moving your hips and shoulders, head and neck more organically. Maybe closing your eyes, just allowing the wisdom of your body to move your body for you. And then come back to a neutral spine. Turn your hands either towards, backwards, or all the way backwards so your thumbs point out and your fingers point toward your knees. If you need less stretch on your arms, you can walk your knees forward. If you need more stretch, you can walk your knees backward. Otherwise, just stay where you are and hold here. Watch out for your back hammocking toward the floor like a banana back. Keep your abdomen engaged as you move your ribs back so your spine stays in more of a straighter position. Take slow, steady breaths. Turn your hands back around. Then slide your knees back. Take your whole torso to the floor. Take your hands next to your rib cage, about just in front of your elbows. Point your index finger straight ahead and flare all fingers wide. Grip the floor with your fingertips. Really, really good for the finger joints. Push your hips down and forward. Then push your hands down and back and move your shoulders back. Lift your chin. Do or don't peel yourself up off the floor, going anywhere and staying there. Or coming all the way up, keeping your hips on the floor. Go wherever feels best for you today. Remember, this is more of a therapeutic class. Breathe here. And slowly lower down onto your face. Feel free to switch one side of your face to the floor or forehead to your hands. Place your hands next to your chest. Push down to push up. Bring your knees and your ankles together. Curl your toes under and then have a seat on your heels. Slide your knees back as much as you can and then squeeze your ankles toward each other and sit up here. You can totally hang out here or add in the hands, interlace your fingers, clamp your fingers closed. Again, great for the finger joints. And then place the backs of your hands on top of your head. Really focus on clamping your fingers closed so you get kind of a finger massage here. Push your palms toward the ceiling as you rotate your upper inner arms toward the wall behind you. Do or don't straighten your arms. And then breathe here, creating as much length in your torso, arms as possible. Keep your chin neutral. Try to relax your neck and your jaw. Release your hands to the floor. Flip onto the tops of your feet. Keep squeezing your knees and your ankles in. Have a seat on your heels. From here, you can totally stay or interlace your fingers behind your back. Go for the non-dominant clasp. Clamp your fingers closed just like the last pose. Move your shoulder blades toward each other and work your arms toward straight. Stay working here or round your spine, going forehead toward your knees or toward the floor. To knees is a much deeper round. As you round forward, move your shoulders back. Don't hold your breath. Next inhale, slowly sit back up. Release your hands, shake out your hands, wiggle your fingers a little bit. Then come up onto all fours, hands and knees again. Keep your toes together, but separate your knees a little wider than your hips for revolved child's pose, Parivitta, Balasana. Take your right arm open to the right. Then swing your right arm under your left arm. Bring your right shoulder, your ear to the floor. You can always use a pillow or something underneath your head and shoulder if you need a little more height. Feel free to stay working here, dragging your back of your right hand down and toward you, sucking your right shoulder blade onto your back. Maybe walk your left hand forward and to the right as you push your left hand down and forward. You can use that, pushing left hand down and forward, to press your left hip back so your hips are more square. Again, slow, steady breaths. Just paying attention to spaces in your body that feel like they need a little more attention. Just being aware of what's happening as it's happening. Paying attention to what is as it is. Walk your left hand back. Untwist, reach your right arm all the way open to the right. Then lower your right hand to the floor. Lift your left arm all the way open to the left. Swing left arm under your right arm. Shoulder, ear to the floor. Feel free to stay here, just dragging your back of your left hand toward you, sucking your left shoulder blade onto your back, maybe walking right hand forward and to the left. Push right hand down and forward, right hip back. Breathe here. Walk your right hand back. Untwist, take your left arm all the way open to the left. Lower your hand to the floor. Walk your hands forward out in front of you. Index fingers point straight ahead. Flare your fingers, grip your floor with your fingertips. Curl your toes under. Lift your knees up. Feel free to keep your knees bent. Push evenly down and forward through your hands and down and back through your feet to keep your hips lighter. Stay working here or keep pressing through your arms as you work your legs toward straight, maybe taking heels toward the floor. Big stretch to the backs of the legs. If you feel like there's more weight in your hands or in your feet, push more into your hands or your feet. So if there's more weight in your hands, push more in your feet. If there's more weight in your feet, push more into your hands. You want them to feel about even in distribution. Bring your feet about as wide as your yoga mat. Bend your knees as you walk your hands back toward your feet. Keep your knees bent so your ribs and thighs connect. That might mean you bend your knees a lot. Maybe grab onto your elbows if your spine feels okay doing that. Now from here, hang your head heavy. Maybe shake your head no or yes. Release any tension maybe in your neck.
And then maybe swing side to side, bending one knee as you lean toward that knee, straightening the other, and going back and forth, kind of like a grandfather clock or a rag doll. And I feel like this posture also kind of is symbolic of the rain because we're tipping over forward, meaning it's coming downward. Even like a waterfall. You can imagine tension just kind of falling off of your back, down through your head, down through your hair, into the floor. Visualization can be such a useful tool in just allowing us and helping us to relax into it a little bit better. When you feel evened out, come back to neutral. Place hands on hips, move shoulders onto your back, then slowly stand up. All right. Come to the middle of your mat. Bring your arms out like a saguaro cactus, and then take your right arm under your left arm. Hold shoulders, join backs of hands, or join your palms. Now, I'm not mirroring you, so just have a heads up. Lean your hips to your left and your torso to your right. You're leaning in the opposite direction of the arm that's on top. Left arm should be on top, lean to the right. Push your hips just as much to the left as you lean to your right. Squeeze elbows in, move shoulders back, lift up through your sternum, and breathe here. Inhale, come back up. Release your arms, let them swing. Then do the other side. Take your right arm on top. Hold shoulders, join backs of hands or palms. Squeeze shoulder blades toward each other. Lean your hips to your right and your torso to the left. Again, right arm's on top. Lean to your left. Push evenly through the inner edges of both of your feet so there's not more weight in one foot than the other. Inhale, come back up. Release your arms, let them swing. Then bring your fingertips in front of your chest, bend your knees, step or jump your arms wide, feet wide. Line up your wrists and your ankles. Turn your toes in just a little bit more than your heels. Tone your thighs, lift your kneecaps, then place hands on hips. Lean your hips back, bring your torso forward, and fold halfway. Feel free to bend your knees to reach the floor. Feel free to use blocks under your hands, taking hands down to the floor under your shoulders. Straighten your arms first. Push hands down and back, feet down and forward as you lengthen your spine out of your hips. Again, watch out for the banana back. Move your ribs back. Keep your spine as straight as possible. Hold here a couple more breaths. Stay here or walk your hands a little further back. Bend your elbows, reach heart first, head last in between your legs, leaning more weight forward into your big toe mounds. Keep your toes spreading. Lift your inner arches of your feet up. Push through all four corners of your feet evenly. Watch out for your shoulders falling toward the floor. Move your shoulders back and up toward your hips. Next, inhale, lengthen your spine. Place hands under your shoulders. With your hands under your shoulders, turn your toes out, maybe to the diagonal, or if you can turn your toes all the way out to the outer corners of your mat or the edges of your mat. Then maybe keep your hands down or place your hands on your thighs. You can put your hands in any position that feels best for you. And just push your hands against your legs, legs against your hands. Stay there, or you can take your elbows to your inner thighs. Whatever feels best honestly just put yourself in whatever position doesn't hurt, but is close to this position. So it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. And then place your hands on the floor. Turn your toes forward, work your legs towards straight, and fold forward one more time. Lengthen your spine, place hands on hips, shoulders back, and stand up. If your feet narrowed, take your feet wide again, about as wide as your wrists. Turn your right toes out. Tone your thighs, lift your kneecaps. Lean your hips to your left, torso to your right. Place right hand to shin, ankle, floor, block if you need a block. Maybe palm flat. It's ideal to get your palm flat in these positions rather than being up on fingertips, because when you're on your fingertips, you could risk hurting your finger joints a little bit more. So if your palm is flat, you're minimizing that risk. Push your feet down and toward each other. Close your top fingers and extend your fingers toward the ceiling. Try to be as sideways as possible. Try leaning hips a little forward, torso a little back so you're more in line with your right leg. Watch out for your bottom shoulder. Rotate it back rather than forward. If you have a block, grab onto it, take it with you as you stand up. Turn your right toes in. Turn your left toes out. Take your arms out to the side, block in left hand. Lean hips to the right, torso to the left, tone thighs, lift kneecaps. Place your block or your hand flat on the floor. Push down through your left arm, up through your right arm. Create as much length on both sides of your body as possible. Flare your toes, squeeze your heels toward each other. Push hips forward, torso back, get head, torso in line with left leg. Keep your left ear away from your shoulder. Close your top fingers. You're always allowed to look up, down, or out in front of you, wherever feels best for your neck. Push down through your back foot. Stand up. Turn your toes in. Bring your fingertips in front of your chest. Bend your knees, step or jump your feet together, arms by your side. You can just set your block somewhere off to the side. Now we're going for Padan Gustasana, which is both first two fingers to big toes pose. You're going to hook your thumb around those two fingers just like that. So go ahead and grab your two big toes with your feet hip distance apart. And then you want to be on the flat part between your two knuckles, that part pushing into the floor. Then hook your thumb around those first two fingers. Push through your big toe mound into the floor. Lengthen your spine. Bend your knees so your ribs and thighs touch. Then widen your elbows out to the side as you bring your heart first, head last toward your legs. Then extend downward through the top of your head as you widen your elbows out to the sides. Maybe take your chest to your shins or to your thighs, your face to your shins. Chest to shins would be a huge reach. Maybe shake your head. Release tension in your neck and jaw. Next, inhale, lengthen your spine. Now you're going to flip your palms underneath your feet. So your palms point up into the soles of your feet, thumbs point in, step on your hands, tippy toes just at your wrist crease. Then lean forward into your hands, bringing weight into the palms, especially pushing into the big toe edge of your foot so that you're pushing that weight into your thumb pad. Your thumb pad, a lot of people tend to have problems here, especially in today's age where we text, use our thumbs way more than we used to in weird ways. So that muscle right there can get pretty tense, pretty tight, and it can cause wrist pain, finger pain, can even cause pain up into your shoulder. So it can cause a lot of problems. So this is a great pose to help mitigate that. Even push the whole ball of your foot, if you can, like more into the center of your palm. That area also can be heavily relieved by this posture. And step off of each hand one at a time. Lengthen your spine. Place hands on hips, shoulders back, and stand up. Grab your blanket roll or a towel roll or whatever you've got. It's easy to take 2 towels, fold them up, and then roll them up so they're about this long. You're going to take the towel roll or blanket roll behind your knees with your legs outer hip distance apart. Bend your knees so that your blanket roll stays, and then place your hands out in front of you on the floor. Make sure you have some mat in front of you for your knees. Now lift your heels up as high as you can, coming up onto the balls of your feet as much as possible. This could be intense already. Now we're getting into the calves and also into the hamstrings here. So just take your time and go easy on yourself. Stay here or walk your hands forward and drop your knees to the floor. Make sure your knees stay as wide as your hips, and then point your toes straight back. Watch your toes, make sure they're not pointing in, point them straight back and sit your weight back. Now you get to choose how much weight you put into your legs. So you could stay on your hands, or if you want to put all of your body weight into it, just sit up. Whew, I went hiking yesterday, so this is intense. Now just hold here. You can totally hang out here and breathe. Or if you'd like, you can do some wrist rolls. Totally optional. And then roll them the other way. All right, now slide your blanket roll down halfway down your calf and then sit back down. Again, you can lean forward into your hands or sit all the way up. The more weight you lean backward to sit up as straight as you can, the more intense it's going to be. And just make sure you're not holding your breath. That's very important. When we are breathing evenly, we're telling our nervous system that it's going to be okay. We're telling our bodies, our brains to stay calm, and which allows our muscles to relax, for tension to release. And slide the blanket roll down one more time so it's just above your ankles, and sit on it. Then lean forward, take your blanket roll, just set it in front of your knees. Come back to it later. Take the top of your left foot on top of the inner heel of your right foot and then slide it down into the inner arch and then sit on your feet. Same idea as calf smashing, only we're doing it to the feet. We're really helping to unbind fascia, to open up the connective tissue inside our body so it allows us to move more freely, to be less tense, to help with any pain that may be caused by fascia tightening. And go ahead and switch your feet, taking your top of your right foot to the inner edge of your left heel and slide it down into your inner arch. Have a seat. Then shift forward, uncross your feet, then take the ball of your foot to the blanket roll, your heels to the floor, one at a time. And then bend your knees so your ribs and thighs touch, just like all your other forward folds. Stay here for a couple of breaths. You can hold on to your blanket roll with your hands or hands on the floor, hands on your legs, whatever feels more restful. Stay working here or lengthen your spine. Place hands on hips, shoulders back, and stand up. Push through your heels as you push your hips forward. Move your shoulders back as you lift your sternum into a mild upper back bend, lifting your chin like a standing camel pose. And then slowly stand back up. Step off of your blanket roll. Set it to the side. Then come into downward facing dog. Bring your ankles together. And then slide your right knee behind your right wrist for pigeon prep. Lower your left knee to the floor, slide it back. And then fold forward. If you'd like, you can use your blanket roll for a pillow out in front of you. Totally nice. Or just fold all the way down to the floor. Maybe swing your hips a little bit. Maybe stay still. Quad stretch, the not back-bended version. So go ahead and sit up, lean onto your right hip, pull your right heel closer to you, and slide your left knee a little forward, bend your back knee and grab your foot, pull heel toward your hip. If you want more quad stretch, just slide your knee back again, and then breathe here. You can use your right hand forward and to the right for more support. Lift up through your sternum. And breathe here. Lower your foot. Come back to center, and then come to down dog. Step your left knee forward. Lower your right knee, slide it back. Squeeze your knees toward each other gently, and fold forward. Maybe stay still, maybe swing your hips a little bit. And then quad stretch, lean onto your left hip. Left hand forward into the left of your knee. Slide your right knee forward. Grab your foot, pull your heel toward your hip. Maybe slide your right knee back for more quad stretch. Lift your sternum, move your shoulders back, lift your chin. Let go of your foot. Come back to center. Come onto all fours. And then cross your ankles. Flip over and lie on your back. Have your block or your blanket roll handy for supported bridge. Once you're down on your back, place your feet on the floor hip distance. Walk your shoulders in one at a time. Lift your hips and then slide your block on the medium height setting underneath your bottom. so that you feel like the flat part of the backside of your pelvis lands on the prop, and you can sit here more comfortably. If it's too far down, it won't be comfortable. If it's too far up, it's too much on the lower back. So just try to get it like right on the sacrum if you can. And then just hang out here. Take slow, steady breaths. And maybe even just visualizing tension moving down from your knees to your hips, to your shoulders, to your head, then into the floor. Stay here or lift your hips up and then heel toe your feet to the right and then slide your block back underneath your hips. So you're in supported sideways bridge. And hold here. Always feel free to go back if you went there and were like, it's not comfortable. You're always allowed to change your mind. And lift your hips back up. Heel toe to the left. And slide your block back under your hips. Rest here. Feel free to adjust your shoulders. And then come back to center. Lift your hips. Heel toe to the center. Lower your hips. Set your block somewhere off to the side. Rest knees together, feet wide. Hands wherever comfortable. Take your arms out like saguaro cactus arms. Separate your knees and do windshield wipers back and forth. Letting your knees fall and stagger side to side. And then pull your knees outside your rib cage. Grab onto outer edges of your feet. Push feet into hands, hands into feet. Gently rock side to side. Wrap your arms around your legs. Recline child's pose. Give yourself a hug. Grab onto your legs or your wrists, elbows. And whenever you feel ready, come all the way into Shavasana or any other form of rest that feels best for you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.